So I'm actually going to go even more obscene now. So this is...
Do you put super glue on your booby eyes and stuff like that to stop them rotating?
Yeah, I mean super glue or a good bit of varnish,
yeah.
just to grip.
Yeah.
So this is a fly, a variation of a fly that Lee Hemfrey, who works for us, tied, and it's a sparkler. So the original was called the Gobfull. Now, the Gobfull was tied on a double hook back when everything was an 8-fish kill, and basically the tail was about sort of 30 strands of Glow Bright number 4 or 5, a pearl body, and then as much sparkle mix as you could physically get on the fly, and it literally just went in the gauge. It was ginormous. He actually won the Gratham Trophy on it. He fished in the England team with John Horsey. It was red hot at Gratham, and it was die 8 twiddling this Gobfull up. Lee was out with John Horsey on the thing. As you'll know, John Horsey is the most captain international we have, probably one of England's best anglers. Lee said, "What do you want to do?" He goes, "I'm going to go nymphing around the sides." Lee's response was, "Right, wake me up when you want to actually catch some fish." So it got to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. John Horsey kicked Lee awake, said, "Right then, what we're going to do." Lee went out in the middle, and in half an hour Lee put 5 fish on the boat with this Gobfull. I went down to Chew last year, fished a match. Water was quite brown, bit coloured. I'd caught on all my flies, all black, quite high, slow glass, chucking it out, roly-polying it. Fish were sort of that far down. Caught on all the flies apart from top dropper, and I thought, what should I put on the top dropper? And I thought, right, balls to it. Lee says they'd like a sparkler down here, I'm going to try a sparkler. Caught on it, thought, right, this is my cast. Next day I went out with Tony Baldwin, who again was in the world team. I beat him 18-6 on this sparkler, and I've never seen anything like it. It was just carnage. It hit the water. I could see the sparkler coming back. I was like, well, there it is. And then I couldn't see the sparkler anymore, and I got a fish on. So this fly really works well, and I think one of the keys to it is how big it is. So this is, it's not quite the Gobfull, because I'm just going to tie a sparkler wing body and then a sparkler sort of head and tail, but this was the version that I was catching on. So the thread, I'm going to use this orange one, but the one that I was using was a fire orange from Uni, but it's a similar colour. So we're going to go down the shank. It's the short shank 8 again, just so you can get a good bit of gape, because there's quite a lot of materials to get the mouths round. So this is a gold and silver mix. This is the one that you get from the angling water shop, but Graham Pearson actually spools it up for them, and it's got a lot of the supporting fibres in it. What happens when you catch a lot of fish, they get all roughed out, a bit like you would if you were rubbing a Velcro brush through them, and it gets even more and more bushy. So it's just a great big hank of this, basically. So what I'm going to do is just grab a great big bunch of it. Well, try and find a bit that's kind of equal-ish length. I've kind of hacked this to death. There we go, they're all equal-ish lengths. So that'll do for the tail. So great big bunch of it, huge bunch of it. For the tail, wet it, loose turn. It's quite hard to try and keep it all on the top. And then, oh god. Nice tight turns, and just keep hold of it all the way down the body. And you can see how big this looks already, and I've not even got the wing on yet. So that's basically the reason they invented this, the ACA, when they were fishing, is because they wanted a tube legal fly. So this is basically a tube. So this would go in the gauge, so I'd trim it to sort of there-ish. You'd want to make sure when you were tying this you had your international hook gauge next to you. So that is the tail. So the body is just undyed pearl fritz. I think it's called trilobal or something. It's just a pearl undyed fritz. You could use any sort of pearl fritz really, but this is just what the original was tied with. Lee gave me this. He's the master of having old materials just lying about. So this is where it starts getting fun, because obviously we need to have that length of that bulk of material now at the head. But it's quite interesting trying to tie it in. So the best way of doing it is, again, grab a great big clump of it. Probably don't quite need as much, but that'll sort of, again, try and marry it up. Where's the middle of it? There it is. Right, well, I'm going to do that much there, and a bit less. Right, that much there. So, what I'll do is tie my body material in, and then you tie this in, facing over the eye. Again, this gives you more bulk on the body, because like I say, it's meant to be huge, this fly, purposely. And as you can see, it's looking absolutely ginormous. Keep going down. Right, there we go. That'll do. So now we just wrap this on. Same with all the other fritzes we're trying to achieve. You're just wrapping it round. Sort of touching turns, trying not to trap any of these in, which is quite interesting, and keeping all the fibres going back. Right, that'll do. Cross the thread over, a couple of wraps, do a couple more just because it's such a big fly, I don't want anything coming undone. Just pull any of the thread off, and then that'll do there. So now what we do, pull the wing over, back over the fly, press it down with your sort of fingers, and then we're just going to put a lot of thread wraps over the top of it. There. This is now where you would need super glue to hold this absolute mass of materials down, but you're just trying to get as many on. I'm going to have to go in front of the eye just to build it up a bit. As many on as humanly possible to, come on, up you go, build this up. And it looks, when you've tied it, it looks like a dog's dinner. This really isn't a very finesse fly, but once you've got it in, it just looks like it would work. Oh, fucking think. I might have gone a bit too close to the eye to get this all in. I'm going to give it a good go though. Let's go in front of the eye. No. No. We'll have to go back a few stages. Okay. So I'm going to take a couple of wraps of this body material off basically. There we are. We'll go one less and then there should be enough space there. There we go. Right. Yeah, that'll do. So a couple of wraps, just hold that lot in. And then pull it back. And then what we kind of want to do with the wing is as you're holding it down, you kind of want to rotate it around the body a little bit. So there we go. That's going to hold it in there now. Right. And that's that. So you can safely say now this isn't as finesse as you would tie your boobies. And then you would definitely want to get some super glue and super glue the living daylights out of this, because it is going to want to come undone. And then you just trim it, pull them all back, and trim it a little bit longer than the wing because it's not going to pull down. And that is the Gobfull Sparkler, and you can see why it gets its name, because it is an absolute gobful and really does look not very nice. But I suppose the proof is in the catching, and it certainly does catch. When I tie them as well, I mean, I would say that is a big sparkler. If I took that into work and said, "Oh yeah, Lee, I've been tying some Gobfulls," his response to me was, "Did your sparkler come out of a concentration camp? Because it looks like it's been fasting for a week." So I'll let you pass round so you can see its ugliness in all its close-up glory. There's my fly clips. Right. There you go.